Hello and welcome back to CoinLady channel. I just wanted to let you know that I posted a video yesterday pointing out how the SEC is confusing a problem with the Howey test with a shared interest, which is completely different. The SEC would like to treat them as interchangeable in order to prove its case that XRP is a security by avoiding the Howey test. I also found out that this was actually tested in 1946. Back then, however, it was more of a novel theory. However, in SEC v. Howey, the Supreme Court rejected that argument. Case. And so I noticed, it was more excusable then to be doing this after you have tried that novel theory in 1946, but in 2023, to be trying this after you tried that novel theory twice is not. It was a failure. The whole thing is totally inexcusable and beyond forgiveness. As it turns out, the debate is ongoing even now, and I'd want to give you the in-depth viewpoint of XRP community member and attorney Bill Morgan. I also have input from attorneys Jeremy Hogan and John Deaton, as well as the chief legal officer of Ripples and the company's top in-house lawyer, Stuart, who chimed in this morning. And he points out that the SEC's action amounts to a trick. I use these words because that is, in essence, what they're doing. They're attempting to deceive you. So, they are crossing their fingers for a dopey judge who'll see right through their weak case. Moreover, I seriously doubt that will occur, as I do not believe Judge Torres to be an idiot. But before I go any further, I do want to make it plain that I am not a lawyer or a financial expert, and that I am not giving any form of legal or financial advice. And remember, you should never use anything I say as a reason to buy or sell something. Just a hobbyist here that occasionally posts films to YouTube on various crypto-related topics. Now, I'm not going to simply replay the video I posted yesterday. However, I do want to set the table, albeit very briefly, in order to provide background and explanation for individuals who may have missed that stuff and be wondering where everything started. Therefore, I will not spend much time repeating what I said yesterday. We'll skip the old material and jump right into the new stuff. First, let's establish the context. Yesterday, Stuart Alder, Chief Legal Officer of Ripples, posted the following comment in a screen grab. I've expanded it here for your viewing pleasure. This did not become apparent to me until the other day. These are the authentic 1940s legal complaints regarding Howey v. SEC case. As a result, I have made special note of the 1946 Supreme Court ruling several times in the previous year or two. And I read the whole thing cover to cover. However, I had missed this. Furthermore, Stuart has previously divulged this information. And it opened my eyes to something I had never considered before, that the SEC, way back in 1946, possibly the Howey test, was confusing common enterprise with common interest. As a result, Stuart had previously written the following in 1946, and its Supreme Court Howey brief the SEC failed to show that an investment in a common company was unnecessary given there was a community of interest. The SEC was wrong then, and is still incorrect now. Now, shared passion does not equate to shared effort. He then highlighted the following section of text on this page. This, once again, is the SEC's line from the 1940s. There is no indication in the statutory text that an investment contract is limited to an investment in a single enterprise, despite the fact that some of the cases do emphasize aspects in the particular conditions, making the enterprise a common one. Of course, in order to satisfy the requirements of Section 401 of an offering prospectus, the units being offered must have enough in common with one another to be considered equivalent investments. This is relevant to the pairs I mentioned the day before, and it was discussed by Ripple. I took note, and it seems to make sense that we have many interests. Consider gold. If you're a jeweler who deals in gold, what's the situation? In case you were to dig for gold, what would happen? What if, instead of mining gold, you sold real bars? That organization is separate. What if, instead of using silver, you use gold and electronics to make gadgets? So there is no joint effort at all. These companies couldn't be more dissimilar in nature or focus. However, there is widespread agreement that gold will remain valuable and popular in the future. In other words, it wasn't included in the original version of the Howey test. When they started debating it again, it seemed like a new idea. And there was no such thing as the Howey test. No longer can you use that excuse. This is because the Howey test actually exists today. The 1940s saw an earlier attempt at this. These spoiled brats are finally ready to take off and fly. Here, therefore, is attorney Bill Morgan's take on the matter. This marks the beginning of brand new content for the rest of the video. Here's what Bill Morgan had to say about it, and then I'll show you some more of Jeremy Hogan's work. Stuart OK, and next up is John Dean. I'm grateful to local attorney Bill Morgan for sharing this information with us, and I think you'll find his in-depth study to be quite intriguing. So, lawyer Morgan copied and pasted a tweet titled "What Stood Out" that had already been circulated. To understand Stuart's tweet, you must first understand that the SEC is attempting to enormously extend the Howey test to include cryptocurrency. The court built some leeway into the standard. The SEC gets around the need to specifically link crypto transactions by taking a broad view of common enterprise, which allows it to sidestep the word enterprise altogether. As we move forward, this is a crucial point, and he does a fantastic job of articulating it. And as I read on, I thought, hell yeah, it would preach, brother. Absolutely. They thereby preserve the widespread use of the term. If you take out enterprise and substitute interest, neither of which appears in Howey, you have a perfectly valid sentence. That's exactly what they are up to. So, says attorney Morgan, this is why it's so hard to get a clear answer to the question, what does the SEC actually say is the common enterprise that Ripple and XRP holders around the world for 8 years are involved in? This is because the SEC is so focused on the word common and is trying to broaden the Howey test by arguing a point they failed on in the Howey case itself. They plan to argue that sharing a shared goal is all that's required. What is their secret? According to the SEC's summary judgment motion, Ripple made claims about how its interests coincide with those of XRP holders. In addition, he sent the following excerpt from an SEC filing. Employees at Ripple are obligated to make the following public acknowledgement, quote, "We have been good custodians of XRP. Furthermore, we share many of the same interests. A Ripple owner has the same concerns as all other Ripple owners." Now I think you understand their point of view. For this reason, attorney Morgan argued that, from the SEC's point of view, having a shared interest in an asset is the same thing as operating a business together. They are making the same argument they lost in 1946 at the Supreme Court level. Here in America, there is no next tier above the United States Supreme Court. As a result, they were unsuccessful. In 2023, they'll still be having the same debate. You have to wonder what's going on in the ever-loving Hill. If it doesn't work, attorney Morgan says, it turns somewhat desperately, in my opinion, to the fungible argument. All XRP tokens rise and fall together in price. This is not a made-up story. According to the SEC, this activity is widespread. The idiocy of this is funny. However, he did add that despite how ridiculous it sounds, he's not making anything up. When something is fungible, it automatically satisfies the Howey test and is accepted in everyday business. And he relayed this fragment to me. This, the SEC contends, is how it all works out. To begin, there is no denying that, economically speaking, buying XRP is like putting money into a joint venture with other people who also own XRP. In addition, with Ripple, all XRP units are interchangeable, and the growth and fall in price affect all XRP units proportionally. That settles it, then? Did you know that you and a man named Moon Family Sedan, who may or may not be wearing pants at the moment depending on your line of work, are in the same business together? I enjoy how naive that is. What a ridiculous idea. The fact that you could make the same argument regarding an ounce of gold doesn't bother the SEC. He continues, but I'm attorney Morgan's validator. But that's simply normal curiosity talking. Ripples. The SEC's attempt to stealthily argue an outdated claim was quickly uncovered by the lawyers. In their summary judgment motion, Ripple's attorneys said that the Supreme Court had already rejected their argument that common interests are fungible, using gold as an example. And the following is the argument that Ripple is making. It should be visible on your screen. This is an improper attempt to equate a common enterprise with the efforts of the promoter, end quote, which Revit forbids. Now note that Revit this is a separate case that set precedent which Stuart already will expand upon when I get to that part of the video. The SEC may argue that, quote, because XRP is fungible, the fortunes of XRP purchasers were and are tied to each other and each depend on the success of Ripple's XRP strategy, end quote. Please wait a moment longer, we're almost there. But that lawsuit has been brought up here by Ripple, and their lawyers keep going. That XRP is fungible does not imply that XRP holders are financially dependent on one another, they explain in the petition. In other words, when it comes time to sell, hedge, or arbitrage investments, XRP investors all have a vested stake in the XRP price. For the same reasons given above, one could say that everyone who owns gold has a vested interest in the price of gold, or that everyone who owns soybeans or pigs has a vested interest in the price of those commodities. Owners who are not mutually dependent on one another for sales revenue do not constitute a partnership or joint venture. The SEC under Howey cannot meet its load with a showing of common interest alone. Common enterprise must exist. Ripple was obviously right in what they said. Also, this is one of many reasons why the fact that it actually works makes it so risky. Furthermore, they have a good chance of winning in court, setting a precedent that might be used against you for any and all coins you own. They're currently making attempts in that direction. If Judge Torres allows them to get away with reducing common enterprise to common interest, as Attorney Morgan told the SEC, we will apply the fungible argument to other cryptos. Paragraph 185 of the lawsuit filed against Bittrex makes this clear. In terms of algorithmics. For commodities, this is true. To get the record straight, let it be known that the SEC has filed a lawsuit against Bittrex, a United States exchange, after the company said it would be withdrawing from the US market. However, the court case against Bittrex predates the company's bankruptcy filing by several days. Or, see this clip from a case that claims algo and other cryptocurrencies are securities. This is what the SEC is claiming. Additionally, they're claiming that the value of all algo tokens rises and falls in tandem. They're making the similar argument with XRP in the SEC v. Ripple case, and if they're successful, they will apply this logic consistently. It also makes no sense. If that's the case, then gold certainly satisfies that aspect of the Howey test. They're suddenly rewriting the past because they have discovered that a common interest equals a common enterprise. This is what they are doing, and it's reprehensible. These people are horrible. Bill Morgan then adds that Ripple has caught on to the SEC's trickery and addressed it in the summary judgment documents. It's intriguing to think about why Stuart tweeted about it in public today. Jeremy Hogan reposted the entire discussion and added his thoughts at the end. This week, I was planning to tweet about the third and last reason why XRP wasn't offered for sale as a security. Unfortunately, Stu/Bill did it before me and performed a better job. Wow, you really put yourself down low. The XRP community is home to some outstanding legal minds. I value your opinions immensely. Then he adds, Attorney Hogan says the Revit case lays it out well, adding that the court record indicates that XRP has not been offered as a security since at least 2018. Stuart has already shared Jeremy Hogan's and attorney tweet. Therefore, Stuart, okay, I'm paying attention to the lawyers in the XRP community. The following is something Stuart has already said. Another SEC trick has been unmasked by the Revit case. With no shared goal in mind. Whether or not investors' success depends on the actions of others is irrelevant. The Howey test is difficult to pass. Obviously, that's also correct. Then lawyer John Deaton retweeted that. Then lawyer John Deaton mentioned the following a few hours earlier. Remember the SEC's contradictory theory on what makes up the joint venture in this case. First, they had to admit that Ripple was the common venture that XRP holders had no stake in. I mean, seriously, what did the SEC do? In passing? Absolutely. Attorney Deaton has written a very brief thread. And that's something I adore. In order to pass the Howey test, there must be some sort of shared business activity. Therefore, he briefly discusses the many stances taken by the SEC over the past few years on the issue. Because XRP can't be considered a charity unless it passes the Howey test in its entirety. That's the way it operates. Their current financial dealings, in particular, must be a part of the program. However, the SEC is making an effort to demonstrate that the asset itself is a security through the use of the embodiment theory. This is why I put it that way. But in this case, too, Ripple was the standard business practice at the outset. That's what the SEC initially argued, before realizing it wouldn't help their case. Right? So, Attorney John Deaton continues, saying the SEC changed its premise and now considers the whole XRP ecosystem, everyone who owns XRP, every exchange that lists XRP, and every business that accepts XRP as payment to be a one entity. That's right, they debated that. To reiterate, books create waves initially. If we consider Ripple as a single entity, the XRP ecosystem as a whole represents the business. But the arrests keep becoming dumber and dumber. Look at this. To support such an absurdly wide assertion, Deaton says the SEC planned to use a hired gun, an expert witness who claimed that all XRP investors must rely on Ripple. However, XRP owners put a stop to such absurdity and aided the judge in dismissing this section of the expert's bogus opinion. I also want to highlight the encouraging developments that occurred at the beginning of March, when Judge Torres issued his ruling on the experts, dealing a crushing blow to the SEC. Even though Ripple didn't receive everything they wanted, this was still a positive outcome. Ripple got the important stuff that really matters. Now Dean is asking, so what did the SEC argue after that? Again, it abandoned the XRP ecosystem idea in favor of a new one, and the common enterprise hypothesis shifted. The XRP token itself is symbolic of the shared endeavor. That's exactly their crazy reasoning, too. My name for this is the schizophrenic defense. I find this to be fantastic. Oh, man. Why the hell do they act like this? Sometimes I look around and think, what the hell is wrong with these idiots? Hellspawn, demons, pricks in the ass, you lot are all asshats. Kim Jong-un has said that. This is what happens when an unelected bureaucrat is in charge of a powerful government agency while it remains unclear which government body is tasked with overseeing which aspects of the cryptocurrency asset class. This is because Congress is tasked with clarifying this matter but has failed to do so. So, we've finally arrived. Why is this even possible? That's just crazy. No, I don't give out financial advice. Nothing they say should influence any transactions you make. And please like and subscribe my channel as always. See you later, bye.